Hello everyone, it's Rachel at From Moments to Milestones, and I'm back today with a 3-card class featuring the Snowman and Friends dies from Waffle Flower. We're also using the snow cap trees, which are these trees here, but we're going to make these 3 cards. And if you do purchase a kit, it comes like this. There's written instructions. The last page there is a list of all the supplies I used to create the kits. So let's get started. I'm going to jump right in with this Let It Snow card. Somewhere I have a little tray I'm going to dump everything into. You will have, these are little beaks for your birds on this yellow tape in here, so you need to get that off. Stick it down there so I don't lose it. And let's see, let's go ahead and put our trees and our birds together. So you have 3 trees and 2 birds. Let's start with the birds. So you should have 2 little bird bodies, and I'm missing, it's probably in here somewhere. You should have 2 little bird wings. There it is. So 2 bird beaks on your tape, 2 wings, and 2 birds. So let's start there. Also, before we get started, I'll talk about some of the extra supplies you will probably need if you want to ink. These are the distress inks that I use: peacock feathers, worn lipstick, mowed lawns, spice marmalade, and gathered twigs. I also use Lawn Fawn Yeti ink. And you can use, I'm going to use a lot of daubers with those inks, or you can use blending brushes, whatever you're comfortable with. So I am going to start by inking up these birds. I'm going to use the worn lipstick, and I have a dauber going here. So I'm going to put my finger on his belly because I want their bellies to be lighter. And I'm just going to come in from the top and ink that way. You could certainly make its belly darker and leave the rest of it whiter. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. And distress ink will dry back a little bit, so it won't be as intense as it is right now. So we'll set those off. And then the beaks, I forgot to say, you will also need black ink of any kind. Preferably, I'm not going to use a distress because I want it to dry quickly. Distress takes a little bit longer to dry, and I don't want the black bleeding anywhere. So I'm just going to use this Hero Arts Intensified Black, and I have them on that sticky tape so they shouldn't move, and I'm just going to ink them up with black. You could, if you wanted to be orange beaks, you could certainly add some orange. That would definitely work on this pink. Alright, and I will set those aside. I'm probably going to pull the beaks off the tape and just tuck them in my little tray there. And then I'll wipe up the ink. Alright, so I'm going to get my little tool here, my pickup tool, other side, and some glue, and we're going to go ahead and glue down the wings and that little beak. So I'm going to make sure my glue is started. I haven't used it in a while, so let's just go ahead and make sure that it is working. Should be good. And so what I'm going to do is put some glue. There it comes. And I did not add any ink to these little wings. It's up to you if you want to, but obviously one goes with one and one matches the other. They're both facing. So I'm going to put it, I'm going to leave it that color, and I'm going to slightly offset it from the wing that is already on the die cut, so it kind of looks like he's got a couple wings going. And I'm going to do that same thing to this one. So I'm just going to put glue on one half of the wing and stick that on there. So there they are. You can offset them as much or as, you know, as little as you like. I just wanted to match. And then we got those two little beaks. So you can kind of see that the beak kind of, there's a little point that juts out there. That's where your beak is going to go. So I'm going to glue those on there. That one goes there. And that one goes there. So our little birds are put together. All right, so now we are going to move on to our trees. So you're going to have 3 white trees and 3 green. And what we're going to do is cut away the snow from the white die cuts and glue them onto the green. And so you can use scissors if you want. I prefer a craft knife. So I'm going to hold this up here and you can kind of see what we're going to do is cut away the part that's the tree. So you can trim. I'm just going to put my knife in there and pull to finish that. You could put scissors into and then cut here, and then that part will slip out and we'll end up with just the snow, and then that will go on the green. Alright, so you can see I have those released. So you'll have, oops, yep, I got it. Okay, and so right back here, I'm just gonna pull those lines together, and then that part slips right out. I think scissors would be harder back in here, that's why I choose the craft knife, but what you'll be left with is that piece there. And then we're going to glue it right onto that green, and now we have a snow cap tree. So first I'm going to pull out the trees from both white pieces, and then we'll come back. I did add some inking to the trees, so I will show you that part when I am done separating the snow. Alright, so I have those snow pieces. I'm going to go ahead and put them in here. I did get a little aggressive with this one here, but I'm probably going to put it on this one that's going to get tucked behind and nobody's going to know anyway. So I'll just keep that piece. And then I am going to grab a Post-it note. Any kind of paper, you know, copy paper will work for this as well. I like the Post-it note because it'll stay in place. And so this is what we're going to do. You can just pick that up. And now I'm going to take some Mowed Lawn Distress ink and a dauber, and I am just going to get the edges. And that is how we are going to create that little bit of depth there. So I'll tuck my Post-it note under there again, just get the edges. I will repeat that for each layer of branch. Alright, so there is that. So I'm going to repeat that same process on the other 2 green trees. Alright, I have my trees all inked up. So now I'm going to pull over my snow. And we're going to glue those right over the green. So the parts where we did ink, put some glue. All right, I have my 3 snow-capped trees done. I'm going to tuck those in there and then a few more steps. I'm going to take this Let It Snow and I'm going to get out some peacock feathers and a blending brush. And I'm just going to lightly go over this top half here where the sentiment is. So just real lightly. You can go as heavy as you want or as light as you want. I'm not going real dark. All right, that looks good to me. Let's clean up any ink. I did get a little blue down here, but it's going to be covered, so that's okay. And then the other thing I did do was, this is where the white pigment ink came into play. You can ink the edges. It's very subtle. You almost can't even tell I did it. So if you don't have the white ink, it's not a big deal. I have, this is actually a pouncer for stencils, but I am going to use it to ink the edges anyway. And I'm going to get a little heavy on the corner. And I'm just going to go around the outside. So that is good for me. So now we can put this card together. So we are going to put foam on the back of this. I have the backing removed, and so I am going to take, there's really no right or wrong as far as the snowflakes go. They're kind of a little bit of everywhere, so wherever you want to put them. But I'm just going to put this frame down on my card base. So that part is popped up, and then this Let It Snow is going to fit right inside, but I'm not going to pop that up. So I'm just going to put some wet glue on that. And just right in there, a little puzzle piece. That looks good. And then we are going to layer up our trees like so. So I'm going to kind of get them where I want them. That looks good to me. And then if I had some press and seal, I'm going to grab some. A little scrap here. So I have them right where I want them, maybe. And then I'm going to kind of create a hinge here. And I'm going to put some foam on the back. And I don't really want them sticking up past the frame, so I don't need it. I'm going to need a little piece right in there. And that will hold them all where I want them. That looks good. So let's, and then that front tree here, I do have that one popped up again. So if you don't like double foam, then you can just glue that one straight. These are more for samples than they are to be mailed, so I understand not wanting to use a bunch of foam. So those two are down, and then this last tree, I am going to put right in here, and we're going to put 2 of them. So the double layer. So that's ready to go, and then I'm going to need a little piece at the top. And maybe a strip at the bottom. looks good, so let's remove those pieces. And because those are on pieces that are already popped up, it only needs one layer. I'm going to tuck that right there. So there's that tree. And then our two little birds are going to come in here. You can put them in front of or behind, however you want to do it. So I'm going to have this one slightly in front, so he's going to need a little. I'm going to go ahead and pop him up so he can be level with the tree. And then the other one, I'm just going to glue him straight down. So let's put this one, I think, in right there. Looks good. And we'll glue this one down. Just like so. All right. One finishing touch you can do if you want. I took a glitter pen. Got a Wink of Stella, or this is actually a Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen. And just go over the snow. And give it a little bit of, I will say you want to make sure that I can just see where I grab some green ink. You want to make sure that's dry or avoid pulling it in, because those are distress inks and they'll react with the water. I think I had some ink on my finger. Got some here, so I'm going to try to pull that off before I add glitter on top. It's better. All right. That finishes that card. All right, our next card is Sending Winter Cheer. So I'm going to get out my tray again, pop the little bits in there. You will also have another, this time a bluebird beak, and his wing is stuck there. And let's start where we did last time. We'll start with a bird. So you have a bluebird this time. So I am going to use the peacock feathers and darken him up. Same way, I'm going to cover his belly. And add ink like so. And there's his wing, and then we're going to also give him another black beak. So get out my black ink. So the same way we are going to, now you may want to let your distress ink dry so this sticks good, but I'm going to go ahead and glue it on now, and it'll be, I think it'll be all right. Grab my wand and put on my wing, slightly offset like before, and the little beak. So there's our little bird. Put him in there to dry. And we have two more trees. We're going to repeat that same process. We're going to cut away the snow, and then ink the edges of the tree, like the branch part, and then we'll glue the snow on. I did not add the Wink of Stella to these this time. You certainly could if you wanted. You could do it now. You could add wet glue, and actual glitter would be fun too. All right, so we have the trees done. So now we're going to move on. Let's move on to our pink. We have our scarf and gloves. So I'm going to add some ink to those. Alright, so there's that. And let's see, we also have, I'm going to add just a little bit of ink to his nose. And like I said, all this inking, if you don't want to, you can skip that part. I think it adds a little bit dimension to our little guy here. So I put some on the bottom. This is spiced marmalade. And then we have his arms and the trunks of the trees, and I use gathered twigs on that. Where is my brown? There it is. So I'm just going to do, I think I accidentally dipped my brown in the black last time, so I'm going to wipe that off a little bit. You don't even see this one, so you could actually skip the bigger one. It's kind of back there, but just in case it peeks out. And then for the arms, this one is curved this way, so I'm gonna come up from the bottom, and then this one is like so. I'm just gonna add some brown ink. All right. So we need our snowman. I think I see a little bit of more brown ink here. Let's clean that up. Okay. So we are going to glue on his nose. Oh, I did forget. I did give him pink cheeks. So what I use is one of these Ranger little mini blending, are they called sticks? I don't remember what they're called. But they have little foam. This one ripped off, but they have little foam on the edge. So what I'm going to do is lightly tap it, and I'm going to tap it off. And then just give him some little rosy cheeks. You could even use your fingertip or a Q-tip or a colored pencil, but I give him some little pink cheeks. And then I'm going to flip him over, and you have a black strip of cardstock. And that is going to go behind the snowman so that he has black eyes. And we have all of our little bits assembled, so one more inking here, and then we're ready to put the card together. So I'm going to put all my pieces back in my tray, and I'm going to get out the peacock feathers and the blending brush again. And you have this rectangle, and I'm just going to go in and give a little bit of blue. I'm going to try not to touch it everywhere because I think my hands are dirty. And a good tip is grab another Post-it note. I'm going to put my fingers on the sticky side so I can hold it without getting blue ink everywhere. And I'm really just going around the edges. And that is good to me. Just a very light hand on that. Okay, so let's put our card together. So we're going to start, you should have an embossed panel, so whichever side up that you want, it's up to you. Glue that down to your card base. Okay, and then this piece is going to go down. Actually, before I put that down, I'm going to build my scene on this in case I need to like trim down my snowman or anything. So that little splotch I don't like, I'm going to hide him behind my snowman. So I'm going to kind of set him where I want him. I'm going to get some things. There's a tree. This one's kind of hanging off a little. There's the snowman. So that looks good. I get out my press and seal again. And I'm going to make a hinge. And this one's going to get glued straight down. I have the little one popped up. All right. Let's put some foam behind that. I'm just going to put one there for now in case I don't think I need to tuck anything, honestly, so we'll just do it like that. And there is that one. So our trees are on. And then our tree trunks, which I kind of forgot about. I don't know if I can get that tucked in there or not. Looks like you can. Get my tweezers. I don't know where those are. There they are. Okay. There we go. I'm going to stick my tree trunk in there. And then our little one. I'm not going to put the trunk on foam, just the tree itself. Okay. And let's see. So now we want our snowman. So the reason why I didn't put him on yet is because I'm going to want to cut off that edge. So I've got him right over here, about like that. And so I'm going to put some foam on the bottom. Alright, so I had foam on the back. I'm going to go ahead and put him where I want him. He's kind of sitting off. I kind of got this edge and the rest of it's hanging off. So I'm going to put him down like that and then flip over and cut off the excess. I'm not going to cut off that tree though. I'm going to let that hang out. Okay, so that part is done. So now we can go ahead and put this onto our card base and we'll finish building our card. And I do have it slightly cocked to one side. You could put it straight on if you wanted to. I just thought I'd add a little something fun when we turned it. Alright, so now let's build up our sweet little snowman. So we're going to go ahead and put his scarf on. And that just lines up with the base of his head. And then his curved arm. So that part is going to kind of get, let's make sure that's where I want it. It kind of goes behind. It's going to come out like so. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. There we go. And then this other arm is going to kind of come up like he's waving there. just going to glue it right down to the tree. And then we've got his mitten. So this one can go ahead and get glued on. What I did was glued it at the base. And then I did put a little foam up here. So there's glue at the base, foam at the top. And I'm going to put his little hand on there, and then it kind of pops up a little bit. So there's that. And then before I put this hand on, I kind of want to make sure that it can look something like that. So that looks good. And what I'm going to do is just glue it at the base for now. So just that, the cuff. And then I'm going to put foam, which it's up to you. If you don't like double layers of foam, you could certainly glue it down flat like this and it would look just fine. I have mine up on foam. So I'm going to do that. But you certainly don't have to. And then just a little piece I will put on his, well, we won't need to pop up his glove because it'll sit on top of the stamp, on top of the sentiment. So let's see. Let's tuck that just like he's holding it, just like so. And then I'm just going to put some glue here on the corner. And I'm just going to pinch those together to hold that in place. And then we got a little bird. You could set your bird wherever. He could sit on top of the, I played around with a lot of different things. You could set him on top of the sentiment. You could set him on top of his glove, wherever you want. I think this time I'm going to put him, I'm going to put foam on him and maybe put him right in here. Well, maybe not. I have him back here on that one, but the spacing's a little different. I'm going to cut away some of that foam so it fits where I want, but you can put them wherever you want. You can kind of see the spacing's a little, the trees are further apart on this one. So if I put them back here, you're not going to see them. And on this card, if I put him here, you couldn't see his arm, and I thought that looked weird. So I'm going to put him right here. I like that. Except he's going to need 2 layers of foam, because this is popped up on top of the Santa, or the snowman that's popped up. So let's try that again. So there's 1 piece of foam and 2. And we're going to put them right there. And a little glue on the bottom so he sticks to the stamp. Clamp that closed. And then for this one, we did add some finishing touches with a white gel pen. You can certainly skip this step if you don't have one or it's not something you like to do, but it does add a little bit of detail. So I'm just going to come in on his nose and put some little white here on his mitten. And on this one, the pen's not going very good here. It's kind of chilly in here. There we go. And anywhere else, I mean, you could put it on the bird if you wanted. I might put some on his little belly. And maybe on his beak. All right. That finishes that card. Okay, we have one final card today. Warm Wishes and Frosty Kisses. So we've got lots of little bits on this one. And we've got 3 red beaks on some tape in here. So let me pull that off. All right. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is I inked up my, this panel is embossed. So this is a Simon Hurley die that actually would cut out all of those snowflakes, but I used my embossing, like the rubber mat, through my machine instead, so it just pressed the snowflakes in there. And then I'm just going to add some white to the edges. I'm going a little heavy on the corners, just like so. And then I'm also going to, I have some acrylic paint, really any acrylic paint will do. I happen to have this Dina Wakley Media acrylic paint. So I'm going to put a very small amount, just like so, on my glass mat here. And then I'm going to add some water to it. And grab a paintbrush. Do I have one out? Yes, I just have a paintbrush. I'm going to put quite a bit of water in it, so it's, I'm going to flick it. All right, so I have a big box here because I found, you can see, there's all kinds of white here, so when I don't use this, it gets on everything that's around my desk. So I'm going to use that. I've just got a pencil here, and I'm hitting the pencil, or the paintbrush against the pencil, just splatter ink on there. Another good way to do this is if you would have put the ink onto a, I've got a round stamping block here, and you can flick it off as well, and you get a really nice effect there, probably a little more controlled. Okay, so I'm actually just going to leave that in the box and let it dry while we work on the rest of our card. We'll get this cleaned up. All right, so that panel is drying. We inked the edges, put some paint splatters on it. So now we're going to build up all of our little images. So if we start with our birds like we have in the past, so we will ink the birds, add the wings, ink the beaks in black, and add the beaks. So you should have 3 red wings. Make sure you match them up to the correct birds, so they're all going the right way. And this time I didn't use a red, I just went ahead with the brown. When you put brown down on red, it tends to just look like dark red. So there's that. Alright, and then we will use the black on the beaks. So those are on this yellow tape. I'm going to try to curve the edge so it sticks to the table and not me, but it's not working out so well. There we go. Black ink. I'm going to go back in with the Hero Arts Intensified Black. You could also use a Sharpie here, or any kind of black marker. If you have alcohol markers, that would work too. So there's that. Alright. So let's put our birds together. I'm going to put the wings on. Alright, so we've got our wings on there, and then I'm going to put the beaks on. A little So my little birds are done. I'm just going to set them up there. And let's see. A few things we're going to need our peacock feathers for. So I'm going to use the peacock feathers and my little dauber for the scarf. And I'm just going to kind of get the bottom we stamped with white onto the scarf. But I'm just going to darken it up a little bit. All right, and then the other thing that I did do was I gave my snowman a little bit of, so I'm going to use a blending brush. You could use the dauber, but I want real light, so the dauber tends to be a little bit darker. I'm just going along the right side, and that's it. All right, so those pieces are done. Clean up the blue. And we need to do the pink. So we have 2 gloves and the little stripe or ribbon on his hat. So same thing. Add some color. And on the hat, I use that white again. So first thing you need to do is get some scissors. Let me find where's my long edge scissors? Here they are. So this hat is kind of made to like sit like this, like it's way back on his head or he's looking up. I don't know. I'm going to take it and just cut it off and just round those corners a little. It's not so straight. All right, and now it looks like a hat that could sit on top of his head. And I'm just gonna ink the edges with a little bit of white. So, and then we need to put the stripe on, so we'll do that. And what else do we have? His arms and his nose. So same thing, I'm going to use the spice marmalade on his nose. Just on the bottom. And on his arms, so we'll use some gathered twigs so it's not the same color as the background. Okay, I think that is all the inking for now. So let's go ahead and start to put them together. So I think that our panel should be dry, and it is. So it kind of looks like a nice snowy background. Let's go ahead and put that down onto our white card base. Okay, and then our snowman must have not got cut all the way. There we go. It's going to go in here, which is great. Let's go ahead and build him up first. So we need to put on his nose. And then on the back, we're going to put his eyes or the strip of black cardstock. And then I do have this guy popped up, so we're going to go ahead and do that. All right, so Snowman's on. We're going to put his hat on, so we're going to need a little bit more foam there. And this part we'll glue to his head. So there goes his hat. All right. And let's see, now we need his scarf. Look like something like that. You could put that over the top too if you want. I like it tucked underneath better, so. And now mine is really hanging off. If you don't want it to hang off, you can play around or you can cut it off. I'm gonna hold on to that. And I like that, so I'll just grab that when I lay it down. And then this I will glue down. And then if you're hand delivering it, you can let the scarf hang. If you're not, then you're going to want to trim it off. So there's the scarf. And then this arm, this front arm is bent and it is slightly tucked behind this piece. I'm going to get it tucked in there. I want his elbow to really be down, so you might have to play with this, or you could have done it before you tucked it, before you glued it down. I kind of forgot. That's why I wasn't gluing it down. All right. So I like that. If his glove comes here, and then the little bird can sit in there. So I'm not going to move that. Just glue that down. And then it's up to you if you want to pop up his arm. I might just glue that down and then pop up the bird. Or you could do like we did before, glue at the base, pop it up. It's up to you. So let's put glue on this arm. And so we kind of want that arm to be here and have room for a little bird on it. So with that in mind, that looks good. And I'm going to do that same thing. So glue at the base. And pop up the mitten. Like so. I'm going to hold that down while it dries. And then this one, not sure, so I'm just going to glue at the base and decide if I want to add foam to it or not. Alright, so we have these three little birds and we do have these scarves. So in this set, there is one other bird that comes in the set. He's larger and the scarf is actually made for him. But we can use it on the smaller birds. We're just going to need to trim down the scarf a little bit. So it is shorter on one side. So we kind of want to even it up. And you can make it, you can just cut it straight across. It's so small that it's not really going to matter. It should be dry. Yeah. So if it's a little big, that's fine. Or you want to trim some more. I'm going to come in and trim some more. And that is a good length. So I'm going to copy that over here. I'm just going to hold them together and trim. And the same thing for this little pink one. And you could just eyeball them. You don't have to do what I'm doing here. Alright, so now we have those 3 little mini scarves. I did add white pen, gel pen detail to them. You don't have to if you don't want to. Get out my gel pen. And I think I might do polka dots this time. And I'm still going to do the stripes on the pink. All right. I'm going to give those a few minutes to dry because I don't want to smear the gel pen. So I'll put those over here to dry, and we can put those on at the end. All right. Our sentiment is going to go up here. You should have 3 snowflakes that you can scatter around however you want. That looks good. And then I've got a bird up here on his hat, a bird down here, and another one here. So let's go ahead and put those down. I'm going to use foam where needed. So like on top of his hat, we're going to need a little foam at the top. So that and a little bit of glue on the bottom, and they can just sit on top. Perfect. And this little bird, I'm going to pop up he's kind of sitting right on his arm. Cute. And then this one we'll probably need a little bit over to this side. I don't know if we need both, just one. And probably some glue. So just off to the side near his beak, and then glue down here. As he is going to sit on his hand like so. And I'm going to move that over a little. Okay. All right. So there's my birds, and I did pop up this sentiment, so let's do that. Warm wishes and frosty kisses. Just up here on the top. That looks good. And then the finishing touch is going to be those scarves. And it's cute without the scarves. If you don't want them on there, that's fine too. I thought it was a fun little detail. I don't think I have enough glue on that one. Go. All right. How sweet. Now, to finish, that card's finished unless you want to add some white gel pen detail. So I put some highlights on his hat. And let's see, his nose. And the mittens, which I need to glue that one down all the way. And I think that was it. I did forget to put his little pink cheeks. So I'll get back out that worn lipstick and my little, I'll tap that off. And some little rosy cheeks. There he is. And that card is finished. I hope you enjoyed these cards today. If you're interested in a kit, you can look us up, www.frommomentstomilstones.com, and look for our card kits there. I'll try to put a link below in the description. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll do our best to get back and check the comments here so that I can answer any questions if you have them. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.